Hey Type 9s, today we're going to be making a video about you guys. We're going to be looking at a 20-point checklist that comes from this book, The Enneagram Guide to Waking Up. This is one of the first books. This was the first book that I ever bought when I was first beginning to learn about the Enneagram. And you know what? Sometimes it's good to come back to the basics, and we're just going to go over this list. There's no real grand plan here except just to read the list, talk about it, laugh a little bit at ourselves, maybe push ourselves to have a little more health and balance in our lives. So before we get started into this list, just a reminder, in the description below is a link to my website, tomlahue.com. I do offer Enneagram coaching. What is that? It's essentially life coaching, but it takes into consideration all of this information that we know about ourselves based on the Enneagram. And, also a lot of the coaching I do is relationship coaching as well, or marriage coaching. And, it can be a valuable tool to understand more about ourselves, but also the people we're trying to get along with, the people we're trying to love. And I do have a lot of classes available on demand and live classes as well. I got one coming up on Enneagram relationship coaching. So check that out on my website. And let's jump into this information, shall we? Okay, let's look at number one. Now remember, type 9s are called the peacemakers. That's all I needed to say. Okay, number one, I often feel in union with nature and people or other people. Union with nature or people. And sometimes, you'll hear this being referred to as the 9's tendency to merge or fuse. You could also say to lose themselves in relationships, or even to just lose yourself in nature, to just kind of like want to connect with something outside of yourself, wanting to connect with someone else and their agenda, and feeling like, kind of like the maybe the way that the 9 sees the world. Correct me if I'm wrong. Put it in the comments. Let's have a discussion, right? But I think kind of the way the 9 might see the world is kind of a chaotic place where relationships are fragmented and where people, could be very unsettled. And so in the midst of that, you're looking for calm, you're looking for peace, you're looking for harmony, you're looking for security. And you bring that calm into this world, but also like you got to be careful, because I don't want to upset the apple cart. I don't want to upset people, because then I would be just kind of thrown out there in this chaotic world, fragmented and lost, all by myself. And so that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure that you live under, to remain calm and to be at peace and to not be disturbed. That's a lot of pressure that you put on yourself, and it takes a lot of energy. You might say it takes like a nuclear reactor kind of energy to maintain that sense of calm in the midst of a chaotic world. Now, you share that calm with others, but I think that this could mean that there is some pressure building up underneath the surface. And remember, you are an anger type, and a lot of times we don't see that anger very often. You probably don't like the experience of anger. You don't like to demonstrate anger. It could be scary. But it's interesting. Let's just say it like this. It's interesting that even though you're called the peacemaker, you may at times feel like, but Tom, I don't have a lot of inner peace. I long for inner peace. And, that could be pretty typical, I think, that the peacemaker feels anxious or unhinged or, not at peace, feeling anxiety. Let's just say it that way. Feeling inner anxiety. By the way, I've been sick for a couple of weeks, so my videos, it's taken a while for them to come out, but I'm back on track now. As he dies on camera. Okay, so I often feel in union with nature and people. And that's not a bad thing. I mean, after all, you guys are the nicest people in the Enneagram. You really are. You're the nicest people. You're easy to get along with. But always we want to challenge, but to what expense to yourself, and to what expense to your own agenda? How much are you giving up in order to maintain this peace and harmony? And is it really peace and harmony? Because peace requires two opposite people to find agreement. And that's really kind of the danger, is you might be substituting, getting along with people or not being a problem, or becoming numb inside and losing your own agenda with peace, kind of like thinking that that is peace, but not actually really finding real peace, just kind of finding numbness. Ugh, that doesn't feel so good, does it? All right, so let's look at number 2. Making choices. By the way, let's go back to that fusing with other people. This is one of the reasons that sometimes you get along with difficult people easier than others. Reality is you may be with somebody right now that is hard to be around, but you find a way to minimize and diminish yourself to frame around that person. And the reality is anybody else would have been gone a long time ago. And you may be the last one to see that. And you may feel yourself sort of like slowly slipping away from the relationship, slowly distancing yourself and putting up more and more boundaries, but not making the decision that this needs to end or this friendship needs to end. But realize, like, if you were an 8 or a 1, you probably would have been done a long time ago. And I don't want to disrupt your harmony, and I don't want to push you in any direction, but I just want you to see some things about yourself that maybe you don't see so easily. All right, number 2, making choices can be very difficult. And that kind of speaks to that anxiety, right? Under the surface. I can see advantages and disadvantages in every option. And the way I would say this is A plus B doesn't always equal C, all right? So when you see point of view A, and you go, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I think I'm going to go with point of view A. And then you're like, oh, wait, point of view B. Oh, well, that also makes a lot of sense. Well, I put these together and I don't know. I give up. This seems very complicated because both sides make a lot of sense. So maybe I'll just go back to scrapbooking. And what I mean by that is sometimes you can get caught up in indecision because if you see both sides of everything, or you see the pros and the cons, or you naturally see, I think that I want to go back to school and become a nurse, but actually I'm not so sure because somebody was telling me that maybe nurses aren't being hired as much as they used to be, and maybe I'm not cut out for it, and maybe you see what happens here is there's lots of opportunity to stall. There's lots of opportunity to sort of like get caught up in apprehension. When you see both sides of things, whether it's political views or religious views or important stuff like that, or whether it's just, I think I want to do this agenda. I think I want to go on vacation to Hawaii. Oh, but to be fair, my husband really wants to go. And look what happens is when you do this, which is a wonderful gift at times, it could stall you out and keep you from actually taking action, initiating, which can be very tough for 9s. Initiating, sort of this one of the things that keeps you going, they say, is inertia. Once you get moving, you can often keep your head down and keep moving forward. But that initiating, like gravity's your worst enemy, you're stuck. And then it's hard to get, to find that initiative where you see other people just making decisions like, I want to go, I want to do this thing, and you see them being assertive, you see them being bold, you see them taking action, and you look at that and you're like, gosh, I wish I had that. Maybe I'll merge and fuse with them. And that is kind of like a cheat code. I mean, that can work sort of. If you wanted to get more focused on business and personal goals or self-development or physical fitness or whatever it is, or you wanted to be more spiritual and religious, whatever it was, if you attach yourself, notice that first point, I often find union. If you attach yourself to other people who are excelling in those areas, it probably will be a lot easier for you. But I'm not saying that that's the best way to find initiative. It's kind of like the cheat code. It'll work, sort of, and it might get you like think battery jumper cables, if you feel like your car's dead, it's not starting. If you find some kind of hot rod right next to you that'll attach their battery cables and say, come on, man, don't you love yourself? Come on, don't you dream for something more? You get around somebody who's very inspirational or very motivated or very driven. What does that do to you? Now, it can be difficult to sustain that kind of energy and that kind of, action, but you may find that person really lights you up and gets you thinking about your own dreams and your own goals. But then what happens? Your dreams and goals come up, but then you see, well, mm, what if this upsets other people, or what if this causes problems, or what if this makes life more challenging? What if it disturbs the apple cart? It's kind of weird about nines if you think about it. Easy to get along with, easy to be around, but to what expense to yourself? But also, nines can sort of harbor some anger, unresolved anger, tension underneath. Maybe you feel it in your body, that tension in your body. It's like, I want to be heard and I want my opinions to be listened to, but I'm not going to speak up about them. And then what's the result of that? It's like tension, that frustration that people aren't listening to me, but maybe you didn't really communicate. Maybe you're afraid of being direct about your needs or your wants, or even it's difficult to even know your needs and wants. The struggle is real, my friend. We're here to help, okay? If this feels like, gosh, Tom, how do you know all this about me? I don't know that I got it perfect. I'm not an expert. I'm still learning, right? But I've talked to enough nines to kind of have an understanding of sort of the operating system and realize that operating system, that default setting, that false self, it works a lot of the time, but it's not the same thing as necessarily being balanced, healthy, and engaged in life. And that's my hope and prayer for you is, number one, as a nine, don't become comfortably numb. Engage. Decide that whatever you're going to do, you're going to make some decisions about your life. That I don't want to be the sort of person that's just stuck, that's like, trapped in quicksand. I got to shake this off. I got to, slap myself in the face. I got to wake myself up and say, what are you doing here? How did you get to this job? Do you really want this? Are you really happy with your life? Could it be better? How could your life be better? And start challenging yourself to improve your life. All right, where are we? Number 3. It is sometimes hard for me to know what I want when I'm with other people. Yeah, you're a withdrawn type, right? So you got to get away from people. That's why it's so important that you learn how to say, hey, Tom, thank you for asking me. Let me check my calendar and I'll text you later. That little phrase right there could get you out of a lot of trouble in life. Oh, hey, thanks, Marie. Thanks for thinking of me. Yeah, I'm really interested in that group. Oh, you want me to be the leader of it? Okay, well, you know what? Hey, let me think about it. Let me talk it over with my husband. Let me pray about it. Let me get back to you. I got to look at my calendar because I got a lot of things on my plate. I need to look at my calendar. I'll get back to you later tomorrow. How's that? Okay, thank you. Watch this. You got to get away from people to figure out what you don't want to do. Seriously, you're going to say yes because when people are looking at you and they're in your face, you're thinking, how do I maintain harmony in this moment? How do I keep them from being upset with me? Okay, I guess they really want me to do this, so I guess I'll say yes. And then what happens? You drive away and you're like, oh, it's not so bad. It's going to be fine. Tom really needs help and I don't really have anything to do on every Tuesday. And even though the people are terrible, I mean, they need my help. Simple question. Do you want to do this thing? See, if I ask you, do you want to lead that group on Tuesdays? Do you want to do that? It's much easier for you to know whether you want to do it or not when nobody else is around you. And when you're driving home, I say, quit telling yourself it's fine. Is this something you want to do? No, not really. Okay. Okay. Then you got to know that. You got to get away and figure that out, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. And then here's the hard thing is then you gotta then send the text. Hey, thanks for thinking of me. I really appreciate you asking me. It's not going to work out for me. Thank you for understanding. Send. Okay. All right. So it's hard for me to know what I want when I'm around other people because you tune in, you merge and fuse and tune in with everybody else's wants. And you're like, I don't really care. I like tacos, but I don't think Tom likes tacos. And I mean, Bob, he's allergic to seafood, so we probably shouldn't go there. And I know Dad doesn't want to spend a lot of money. So look at all this. Look at all this processing that has. No wonder you're tired. No wonder you're exhausted. No wonder nines can sometimes kind of look disengaged. It would be difficult to do all of this. I gotta put my fingers on the pulse of everybody in this room before I know what I want, before I say out loud what I want. It takes a lot of effort and it can make you pretty angry. Always, you know, focusing on other people and their wants, needs, and demands, and then feeling like nobody's really listening to you or making space for you could end up with some unresolved tension and anger. Some passive aggressive stuff might start to leak out, if you know what I'm saying. All right, number 4. Others see me as peaceful, but inside I often feel anxious. There you go. I just said that, right? So on like you're a duck, a swan. On the outside, you're gliding across the water, but underneath the water, there's all this panic energy. There's all this oh crap, fear. You know, okay. Don't get mad at me. I'm trying to help. Okay. Um. Instead of tackling what I really need to do, I sometimes do the little unimportant things. Yeah, it's like, oh crap, the taxes are due tomorrow. I probably ought to straighten my closet first. Because see, that feels like you can see the productivity, and this could feel like an overwhelming task. I don't know where to begin. I lost some of the paperwork. I don't want to tell my wife that I lost the paperwork and I don't know where to start. So, oh, there's an extension? Okay. All right. I get the 3-month extension. Taxes are done as far as I'm concerned. I don't have to worry about this for another 3 months. But that closet's going to get cleaned. You betcha. Okay. Where are we at? When there is unpleasant things going on around me, just imagine like quarreling, arguing, fighting, manipulating, drama. Man, there's a lot of that stuff in the world, isn't there? And that's kind of the presupposition of a 9 is that's everywhere. And I've got to go out there and maintain my peace and harmony in the midst of all this. So when there's unpleasantness around me, um, what do you think the next line's going to be? I get away, I confront it and deal with it and resolve it. Wouldn't that be great if that's what we always did? But this is what it says. I just try to think about something else for a while. So maybe you retreat away from it, sit down, watch TV, get on your phone, anything else. Numbers, that's why I think 9s love nature often, is because you can get away from everything and back to this peaceful surrounding like we were intended to live in, you might say. Okay. All right, number 7. I usually prefer walking away from a disagreement to confronting someone. Yeah, I don't like confrontation. I'm with you on that. I need to do it at times, but I don't like it. And so notice though the danger though. I mean, read the danger. It's nice that you let things go. It's nice that you forgive, move on, let things go. I appreciate that. I love that. But the problem is sometimes when there is a problem and you act like there's not a problem, and people might even come to you, Sarah, are you okay? I haven't seen you at group for a while. Is everything all right? Your tendency might be, oh yeah, no, everything's fine. Everything's just fine. Yeah, no problems here. No, I'm just kind of like rolling myself away from the group. If there is a problem, lean on your 8-wing a little bit, and we got to deal with that. Because how are you going to stay in a relationship if you can't work through and resolve problems? Okay, what do you have when you don't resolve problems? You have unresolved problems. All right? But trust me, I have a doctorate. Not in this, but I mean, still. When you don't, I have a gift sometimes for stating the obvious, my wife says. When you don't resolve your problems, what do you have? You have unresolved problems. Okay, let's just leave it at that. All right. I don't have, if I don't have some routine, you knew it was going to come up, didn't you? If I don't have some routine or structure in my day, I get almost nothing done. So what does that tell you? That you got to lean into your 1 a little bit, and maybe even that line to 6, because I think of 1s and 6s as being like the people that schedule things. The people that, all right, let's get a plan. All right, let's get out our to-do list. Let's write it all down. What are we going to do? Step 1, step 2, let's prioritize this, run it through Chat GPT, and we're going to get it all straightened out. Now we have a plan. And, that could be very good for you okay, let me just say it this way. The first 10 or 15 minutes of your day, switch on your manager button. Just become a little bit schizophrenic and switch on your manager button and say, okay, I'm no longer Sarah the employee, I'm Sarah the manager. And I'm going to map out the day for my worker what they need to do. And then get all that done. Basically, you're leaning into your one wing and you're orchestrating your plan for the day and you're creating your railroad tracks because a train needs railroad tracks in order to move forward. And then after that 15 minutes is over, then flip your switch back to worker, Sarah, and then just go do what needs to be done. You can do this. You absolutely can do this. 100% you can do this. You have to manage yourself. Be the manager for yourself. 15 minutes, manager mode, and then the rest of the day, worker mode. And you'd be amazed at how much you can get done. You're welcome. Okay, so routines and structures are good for you. Yeah. You need a plan. If you're going to, some people like fives, for example, you could just turn them loose. You could say, hey, you want to learn about the Civil War? There's a library card. And they're just going to go investigate it, right? But for you, you probably need to set up a plan. Okay, this is what I'm going to do each day. I need the school syllabus. And if I have the school syllabus of what I'm supposed to read each day and the reports I'm supposed to do, then I can stay on track. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just know that about yourself, if that's the way you operate, that you might need to create a 12-day plan or a 3-month plan, and then follow that plan, follow that agenda. So when you're on and you're in your manager mode, go to a website and create, I need a 12-week plan for getting from 220 pounds down to 200 pounds and building some, whatever, you know what I'm saying? All right, you might need a plan. Follow the plan. And I'll tell you what, if you find somebody to help you do that plan with you, a team member, again, somebody who's very motivated would be even more helpful, but at least a partner, you're much more likely to follow through if this person's counting on you. They're expecting you to go to the gym 3 days a week. See, you're much more likely to follow through if you're accountable. All right. This is good stuff. Life-changing stuff. If this is helpful for you, please like the video, share the video, comment. I mean, think how many people out there are nines and they've never even heard about the Enneagram. They're just struggling. They're just struggling. They don't even know maybe why they're struggling because nobody's put it into words for them. And it's just such an amazing tool to put things into words for you and tell you stuff about yourself you already know, but maybe didn't highlight or underline as being a problem or a superpower. You have both. All right. So, number 9, I tend to put things off to the last minute, but I almost always get them done. You know why? Because fear is a great motivator. And when you wait till the last minute, suddenly you get hit with panic. Oh, crap, that's due today? I'm going to get fired. Or, oh, wow, her birthday's tomorrow? Yikes. And then that panic, that fear can be a great motivator, a great energy boost. It would be great if we didn't need that, but it can work nonetheless. It's, again, another cheat code. Fear. When you don't have frustration and anger, when you shut that off, then you probably rely on fear as a motivator. Think about that one for a while. It'll change your life. Okay. Number 10. I like to be calm and unhurried, but sometimes I overextend myself. Yeah, you know how you overextend yourself? Because you say yes to crap you don't really want to do. You do. You say yes. You know why? Because you probably have what I call nice person disorder. And it's a wonderful, disease to have for everybody around you. But it can take a toll on you. And so you got to learn to say no. No. No, thank you. Hey, thanks for asking me. But yeah, that's not really going to work. Hey, thanks for asking. But yeah, I'm not interested. Can you imagine looking at somebody when they're saying, I want to show you my thing. You want to buy my thing? And you're like, hey, well, that's really, I almost said that's really interesting. Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, I'm not interested. I don't want to be a bad person. Well, maybe you're confusing bad with honest. Sometimes we are nice because we're afraid to be real. Ooh, think about that one. Change your life. All right. When people, we're on number 11, so we're halfway done. Come on, Tom. I got to hurry because I've got an appointment in just a minute. When people try telling me what to do or try to control me, I get stubborn. Stubbornness is often referred to as the anger of nines. It'll show up in stubbornness. You know, actually, I was just reading this book, the Enneagram, the Unfiltered Enneagram. The lady that wrote this is an 8. Really good. Elizabeth Orr. And she said, nines are sometimes like those protesters, those environmental protesters that sort of like sit down at on the road. They just sit there. And when the police come to try to pick them up, they just become limp. And you have to like drag them off, and then they kind of roll back, and then you drag them off. She was saying that's what the anger of a 9 looks like. They just become like dead weight. I'm not moving. Oh yeah, I intend to really help you on that. Not really. I'm not really going to help. I'm just going to sit here and just become like dead weight. So if people try to tell me what to do or try to control me, I get stubborn. Number 12, I like to be sure to have time in my day for relaxing. Yeah, downtime. Work's done. Let's be done. I love it. I think it's great. I wish 3s and 1s and 8s, I wish they could be more like that, more relaxed, and 6s, all the types that are connected to you. Think about that. They all need to know when, hey, we're done now. Work's over. So let's watch TV. Let's go for a walk. Let's ride a bike. Let's let it go. I like that. You need time to relax. Good. Fair enough. Where am I at? Okay. Sometimes I feel shy and unsure of myself. I would say it's worse than that. I would say it's almost like there's landmines out there, and you got to be very careful what you say and how you react and relate to people because you don't want to blow up their relationship. So you're careful. Shy and unsure is another way to say I'm really careful because I don't want to offend, upset, or irritate somebody and break the relationship or cause fragmentation in the relationship. I enjoy just hanging out with my partner or my friends. Yeah, let's just watch Netflix. Let's just eat pizza. Let's just order in. Let's just, keep it simple, keep it light. Let's just do nothing. Let's banana pancakes, right? I think Jack Johnson's probably a 9. Just a good day for rain outside and banana pancakes. We ain't got to go nowhere. Just eat banana pancakes. If petting your dog is on your to-do list, you might be a 9. What'd you do today? Well, I pet my dog. Okay, I'm being stupid. Stop, Tom. All right, water break. Supportive and harmonious relationships are very important to me, and I will pretend that they are harmonious even when they're not. I dropped my book. Okay, did you get what I said there? Supportive and harmonious relationships. 100%, man. I want to be in a relationship with that. I want supportive and harmonious relationships. But what if there actually is a problem there? Again, unresolved conflict leads to unresolved conflict. And so it's so important to you that you may act as though everything's fine when it's really not. And facing that can be difficult. I am very sensitive about being judged, and I take criticism personally. Okay, number 17, we're almost done. I like to listen and give people support. Yeah, I make space for people. It's something that you maybe don't believe that you're allowed to take up a lot of space, so you give space to other people. It's like, I know what it's like to not feel heard. I know what it's like to not feel important. I know what it's like. See the anger under that? Could be. I'm just saying it's possible. All right, number 18. I focus more on the positive than the negative. Good, 100%. I'm a 7. I'm with you. 7s, 9s, 2s, the positivity types. 100%. All right. Why focus on the negative? Well, sometimes we have to focus on the negative because there's a problem that needs to be dealt with. But all right, number 19. I have trouble getting rid of things. I don't know about that. I have to think about that one. Nostalgic, meaningful. Somebody gave this to me. I might need it. I feel anxious about letting it go, or there's some attachment, that somebody of importance to it. And number 20, I operate under the principle of inertia. If I'm going, it's easy to keep going. But I sometimes have a hard time getting started. Yes, the key word's initiative. Initiative can be can be difficult. It can be difficult for knowing your goals and knowing what you want. It can be difficult when there's a conflict that needs to happen and you need to deal with it. What's interesting though is your wings on either side are both people that often have great initiative. So learning to balance a little bit and to incorporate a little more eightness, a little more oneness, and then think your line to integration is 3. Think about that. 8, 1, and 3. These are like the 3 most productive types right there in your counsel, you might say. And so harnessing a little, knowing when to lean a little bit into that 8 and like, okay, I need to own my space. I need to own my voice. This problem's not going to go away by withdrawing. It's not going to go away by being more compliant. I've got to be more assertive. I've got to take action. I've got to stand up for myself. Deep breath, duck underneath. I feel fear, but I'm going to be smooth on the outside and say, hey, I need to deal with this problem. I need to take initiative. I need to make a plan. I need to get started. I'm going to make a list. I'm going to make a chart. I'm going to make a schedule. I'm going to call a friend to help me do this and follow through on it. And you are on your way to lasting change, my friend. Lasting change. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful. If I can help you in any way, please reach out to me. I'd love to work with you. Just check out my website. I got all kinds of plans. You want 3 weeks, you want 6 weeks, you want 12 weeks, you want the rest of my life, whatever I can do to help you. All right. Take care, guys. I'll see you next time. Be present to life.